The End of Morals and Dogma, Albert Pike, Chapter 32. No one can have a right to think meanly of his race unless he also thinks meanly of himself. If from a single fault of error he judges of the character of another, and takes a single act as evidence of the whole nature of the man and the whole course of his life, he ought to consent to be judged by the same rule, and to admit it to be right that others should thus uncharitably condemn himself. But such judgments will become impossible when he incessantly reminds himself that in every man who lives there is an immortal soul endeavoring to do that which is right and just, a ray, however small and almost inappreciable, from the great source of light and intelligence, which ever struggles upward amid all the impediments of sense and the obstructions of the passions, and that in every man this ray continually wages war against his evil passions and his unruly appetites, or it has succumbed, it is never wholly extinguished and annihilated. For he will then see that it is not victory, but the struggle that deserves honor, since in this, as in all else, no man can always command success. Amid a cloud of errors, of failure, and shortcomings, he will look for the struggling soul, for that which is good in every one amid the evil, and, believing that each is better than from his acts and omissions he seems to be, and that God cares for him still and pities him and loves him, he will feel that even the erring sinner is still his brother, still entitled to his sympathy, and bound for him by the indissoluble ties of fellowship. Notice he called him the erring sinner, as if the sinner is still erring and unrepentant, which is not what Jesus said. He said, if your brother sins, rebuke him. If he repents, forgive him. I continue. If there be nothing of the divine in man, what is he, after all, but a more intelligent animal? He hath no fault nor vice which some beast hath not, and therefore in his vices he is but a beast of a higher order, and he hath hardly any moral excellence, perhaps none, which some animal hath not in as great a degree, even the more excellent of these, such as generosity, fidelity, and magnanimity. Bardizan, the Syrian Christian, in his book of the laws of countries, says of men that in the things belonging to their bodies they maintain their nature like animals, and in the things which belong to their minds they do that which they wish, as being free and with power, and as the likeness of the God. And Militon, Bishop of Sardis, in his oration of Antonius Caesar, says, let him, the ever-living God, be always present in thy mind, for thy mind itself is his likeness, for it too is invisible and impalpable and without form. As he exists forever, so thou also. When thou shalt have put off this which is visible and corruptible, shalt stand before him forever, living endowed with knowledge. As a matter far above our comprehension, and in the Hebrew Genesis, the words that are used to explain